restless nervousness, but it's touching your choices that you make. If you make your choices when you're worried or anxious, it's like if you break a relationship and you start another relationship right away, you're just dumping it onto the next one. It's an overreaction too fast. But Venus is not just about relationships, it's about your satisfaction. So if you have Uranus conjunct, square, or opposed to your moon, it's going to be difficult to ever be content. You always want something different, or it's not exactly the way I want it to be, and that's not the stable factor. It doesn't mean it can't be there. It just means there's a restlessness around it. As soon as you rely on other people or expect things to be there, it's probably not. At the same time, if you just marry someone who's so conservative, you'll end up being the one walking away. So how to navigate through things, you need a book on any one of these factors. But really, we're writing that book. We're looking at the Venus circumstances and the signs, all the categories, how we need to evaluate things, and the houses where we look for how we project or react or how we're functional or within ourselves. But the aspect is telling you, you still have to be those things. It just tells you how there's something unstable with Uranus, something excitable, something restless that's perhaps threatening the stability of where normal choices would be made. So when you're a teenage kid growing up, trying to make choices, you're winging it. The odds of being rejected and then having to figure out what to do are very much there. Doesn't mean you can't have the great love. It just means it's difficult for it to stabilize without extreme trade-offs, or for you to be content with it for very long without something else. Or you want it and you're content with it and you're with the person, and the other person doesn't want to deal with that degree of worry around it and pulls away. Or they want to be with you and you pull away. So there's a limit to how much you can be satisfied with Uranus square Venus. And so before you're totally satisfied, you're going to get up and you're going to do something else. You're going to do things. You're going to try and do that thing. Oh, I got to do this too. I've got to do this too. So you're going to fill yourself up with all sorts of things you want to do, but you may not have any one that's really the stable factor. So if you meet someone's chart and Uranus is square, opposed, or conjunct to Venus, you wonder about the finances, you wonder about their marriage, you wonder about love, you wonder how stable their finances are, what work they do, and what do they want? I'll never get what I want, I better take the second choice. Then you have to live with your choices. That's the trouble with Venus in any case. Uranus has this tendency to attract the unstable, the unconventional, because it seems better than what the traditional is. So someone with Uranus square Venus, if they're going into a relationship, they would be wise to pay for their own way and have the other person pay their half, or each pay your own half so you know where you each are, rather than one person relying on the other and falling into roles. You take care of some of the Venus yourself. Okay. It's a ladder, like your needs, your thinking, your values, all these inner things. Uranus causes an inner anxiety that seems irrational to other people. They don't get it. Why don't I do something? Why you're not trying so hard at this? But it's already set in you to start with, and you're starting from. This is a karmic thing across lifetimes. Still, great things can be done. Just once you get used to accepting your own circumstances and making the most of it. Okay, now, when you get out to the sun, it's your confidence. So you can have this huge anxiety with the other planets, and if it doesn't touch your sun, your confidence can still be there. You can still be making things happen and being purposeful. It's just you may not collect everything you expected from it, but the confidence isn't going to be touched. But if Uranus hits conjunct, squares, opposes the sun, it's destabilizing or making anxious. Your confidence, your willpower is not as stable as other people's. It is what it is. It's just you've had it all your life. That's your way. And when you start competing, you start seeing how things are going, well, there's this worry factor, this changeable factor. You could have the same degree as someone else, but they had their family support and everything else they went through, and they got in it 3 or 4 years, and you may have had to move once or twice or change teachers. There may have been other disruptions around it or going on while this was happening. Fortunately, we don't usually get Uranus hitting the moon or Mercury and Venus and the sun all together. In occasional charts, that might happen. Then it's a much more extreme factor as these aspects pile up. So with other planets, you can't see what is. You can be alert to this vulnerability. And you watch to see, observe how that person is dealing with it. And then if you see they're in some situation that could be dangerous or really loss producing, then you're trying to insert some Saturn or some cautious practical advice inside a situation that's already gone beyond practical. With the sun, it's about your confidence. I got to be really different. I got to be there. Here I am. But at the same time, it's insecure because it's stable. So not everybody feeds it. So you think I'm going to go here. I'm going into the future. I'm going here. And some other things come up. I'm going to go be the career. But then you meet someone, they get pregnant, they go there. You go a different way and don't quite do the career you meant to happen. It's compromising. The anxiety that comes with the sun, it's about your willpower. It's about your confidence. So there's a tendency for it to shake the confidence, to have situations that come up that shake your confidence, to be living in situations that shake your confidence. Like when you're going to school, you may not be confident about what you're doing. You still may pass it, but you have this lack of confidence, which other people may not have, or it may come as a peer pressure thing. It can come in all different areas of the houses. But if it's affecting your sun, that's there before you even look at the houses. The planets are going to go in their houses. They're going to be affected by the sign, but the aspects are just the magnetic field between the planets. It's your psychic magnetic field, your psychic aura almost. And it's going to have these nerves inside of them. There's nothing wrong with having these nerves. If you were by yourself, no big deal at all. But when you start relating and interacting with other people or in social situations or even domestic ones, when you start having to work things out, there's a nervous system, unconventional, it's an intolerance that's not there with people that don't have these aspects. Often people with the anxiety will attract someone with the anxiety, and they both have it. Then the kids grow up with 2 anxiety-ridden parents, if there's kids at all. So the need for innovation of Uranus comes at the expense of the squares and oppositions and the other planets. I got to use this energy to break away, to break free, to go on. And you can do that, and you will do that. But for someone that's close to you or someone, they're going to have trouble walking into that. Someone, if you have the Sun square Mars, someone might be, you may not feel you want to take this job. You might want to do this. You might not have that great confidence. And other people, well, why wouldn't you? You got all the skills, and there's an insecurity factor there that's affecting your pride and your ego. Someone doesn't have Uranus hitting their sun, they got a stronger ego. The other planets weaken and diminish. Saturn tries to defend against it. And so Saturn can make an ego very conservative. It doesn't necessarily break it. These other planets make it more anxious. And therefore the life intent and the purpose of life. Someone can be a great actor, but they don't have a stable job, or it's jumping this way and that way. And they're doing something they want, but they may not have financial stability that's great for bringing up a family. Well, I'm making a couple of simple little examples by what I'm thinking about right now. There's thousands of examples for any aspect. You observe, you notice that nervousness is there, and you look to see, you see the sign in the house that Uranus is in, you see the sign in the house that the sun is in, and you're watching what they do. You're looking at their confidence. And they can do something and really be accomplished and not feel confident about it. You think that was good? You think that was okay? When they did something great. So this nervousness, they can get attention for being nervous, for being restless. But there's usually breaking over the humility. No one thinks isn't fitting in. This isn't fitting in. This is changing. But here, what can I do? I don't know if I can do enough. That's the sun. That's the confidence. I don't have it spelled out exactly. When I see someone with that, an alert signal goes off, and I just I'm working with the basic factors. I'm observing to see how it's manifesting in. I'm not saying, oh, you got to be this, or or you're just like this, or just like that. Rather than saying, oh, you got a nervous thing with your mom or with the past. And how do you get on with your family? Are you close to your mom? How did you leave home? Where are you living? I start asking questions to try and walk into that planet. If it's the moon, if it's the sun, what are you doing with your life? Are you confident? Are you playing? Do you have what do you enjoy doing? What do you like doing? What gives you confidence? And if someone is insecure about their confidence, it's going to hit a nerve. You're going to get feedback, or they'll run away. But you'll discover what it is. So you're seeing the nerves. You ask questions, and you start seeing, oh, they're working with that. So sometimes the best consultations. I've only done this for a few times over my career, where I would take someone, and we would work on like a spiritual thing. We have a 2-hour consultation once a month or once a week. Usually it was once a month. And we deal with the moon, everything about the moon in your chart on one day. The signs, the houses, the phases, everything about the moon. Transit to it, the progressions to it, its progressions, all of these things. We do that a lot one day. And you sleep on it for a month. And we come back and we deal with Mercury. And that was a beautiful way of dealing with people and having long-term points where you're really dealing on each level at a time, and then at the finish of that, you're trying to put the whole thing together, and you're talking about how these all integrate with each other. And by then, you're dealing with it at a much greater depth than you ever would be just by talking to someone. Much more than a consultation. That's a therapeutic, in-depth reaction. Even studying astrology is like personal therapy. You're just checking off all the things in a while. That's when you see how incredible it is. How could it be saying that? It's true. Like, or that wasn't do I work at this way, but you still start aligning and tuning into these. Okay, up to the sun. Well, the sun is confidence. Kind of like Mars, it can make someone overreactive or over-aggressive, over proud to compensate an insecurity, or over insecure and confident, and you avoid direct confrontations. That insecurity is there. Or instability, or person can be strong but not fit in anywhere. All of these are restless factors. Now, when you start putting the outer planets to the in-between planets, the Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, they're affecting outer behaviors. It's all in your functional use of energy. Mars, your understanding of it, and your accomplishment of it. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay. These outer planets, if you start trying to deal with autism or people who have special, unconventional uniquenesses, you often get answers. You can sort of see it. So you can't see exactly what it is. You know it's there. You're not sure how it manifests. You wouldn't predict it. You just know that nerve is there, and you're watching to see where it comes. Once you find it, you can see ways to work around it or work with it or make the best of it. But you can start to see the reality of how that person processes, which is different than other people. So